My children lost a father, and I lost my husband and a friend to suicide.
About a year ago, my son Philip committed suicide.
I'm a survivor who lost my only son 2 years ago to suicide.
The rates of suicide on Guam has been for the past 10 years, one death every 2 weeks. It's quite alarming.
I can honestly say that every single family in our church and our school knows someone, whether it's in Chuuk, here in Guam, here in the village, knows someone who has attempted it.
Miyor even teteni mongeri deive. Soporo siriya barawan.
We started the Focus on Life program about 4 years ago. It was our mission to help us better understand the reasons behind the deaths and the reasons behind the suicides. What we've come to believe and to know is that every person on this island could take some responsibility and prevent suicide.
In my support group for being there for me, and of course my family and everybody else.
I lost my only son to suicide 2 years ago. He was 24 years old. My son Corey was always laughing. Corey was always joking. Corey was always, and that's how a lot of his friends and of course his family saw him. If you saw Corey, he was laughing, he was smiling. It was something that I guess masked his hurt.
People who die by suicide or who make attempts are people in pain, are people who may feel lost for that moment. Unfortunately, they have taken a very, very drastic and serious end to solving their problem.
I actually attempted suicide in college. I was a sophomore in Denver, Colorado, Laredo Heights College. I was in a relationship, wasn't going well, far away from home. I decided one night, midnight, that I'll go to the roof of our dormitory and I'll jump out. And at that time, you don't think about the pain that it'll cost your family or your friends. You're just thinking you want to end the pain. You're just thinking you can't possibly live another day.
When a person dies by suicide, they may not feel the pain anymore because they've moved on to the next life, but they've left a great wound among their family members, the people who survived their deaths, the people who are left behind.
There was a lot of questions, there was a lot of emotions that come into play when a parent like myself is stricken with that type of grief. You never get over the hurt, you never get, and the loss of your loved one, you never.
There's no clock that's ticking that says after a person dies by suicide in your life, you should recover in 2 weeks or 2 years. It takes a lot longer than that.
I try to get the strength by thinking of the good times. I did things a lot that I did with my son. Think about it, I can go fishing again with him, but I can't.
How do you overcome such deep pain if you deny yourself feeling that pain, talking about the pain? The kinds of pain our people go through, the kinds of pain we are trying to heal from.
It's real. Pain is real. We're big on island culture that we're about family, and it's so amazing how there are so many people in huge extended families that feel so alone.
We want to celebrate all that is strong about our community, and when we go into a negative area talking about things that hurt, it is something that is very private. How do you break through that?
For me, it was a struggle of months. I just kept putting it off. I didn't talk to my mother. I didn't let my family know. Growing up in a Micronesian family, you don't talk about those things. You do your part in the family. You get the good grades. You be the daughter who helps. You be the son who's a support, but you don't talk about depression. It's okay to have a headache. It's not good to be depressed. It means you're weak. And in the island culture, being weak is such a taboo. It was a year before I finally said, I'm not going to consider it.
About a couple weeks after we laid my son to rest, I wanted to turn hurt into something positive. I called the peace org and I gave them my name. Apparently they called me back.
I was the initial person to speak with him when he did come, and we informed him that we did have a survivors of suicide support group.
I explained to them that I'm a survivor. I lost my son and I wanted to gain knowledge, and the question was turned around by one of the staffers that was interviewing me at the time. How are you doing? We were here for you, and I was kind of surprised.
Well, first, it was important for us to have him acknowledge his grief.
I tried to deal with my hurt by trying to make the pain, as negative as it is, try to make something positive out of this whole thing.
We need to make sure that he first understands that he is a grieving parent and have that grief motivate him to where he wanted to be, which was an advocate.
We started a support group and we've met, and it's been 2 years and we still meet. And I kind of find it like a place to let your hurt out, you know, and let your pain out. But eventually it changed because as time goes on, you become stronger. So that place of hurt became a place of hope.
Clyde has taken in everything that we've shared with him, and he is one of our biggest supporters and advocates under our suicide prevention campaign.
It is absolutely essential for us to reach out and to speak and to talk, get involved. Many students go through all of high school without ever actually hearing about, you know, the symptoms of suicide or what to look for or how to hear.
Our Focus on Life program is training trainers in a specific evidence-based prevention program called Applied Suicide Intervention Skills Training. The people that we train through our Focus on Life program is about reaching out into the community. So we work with youth, we work with adults, we work with professionals and paraprofessionals. And so our program is helping them to really learn ways in which you could hear more than is being said and see more than is being shown.
My son, he was hurting when apparently he was contemplating all of this. We live a daily life where we tend to lose track of that.
Nowadays, you sit at a table and you want to talk about something and someone's got their face looking down at their iPhone or their iPad. That body language in itself would give a person some feelings of hesitancy, like, oh, they're busy, maybe I shouldn't talk about what's bothering me right now. If a person looks sad and may not be saying they're sad, it's how do you read those signs and expressions.
I didn't see those signals, but I recognize it now. I remember eating was hard. You lose your appetite. Didn't want to be around anybody, didn't want to talk. School, just getting up to go to classes was hard enough. I would sit in the cafeteria and just be there physically, but not there mentally.
Be able to ask a very, very tough question like, are you thinking about killing yourself? It seems really simple that anybody should be able to just ask that question outright when you're thinking that someone may be contemplating suicide, but it really is a very tough question to ask. The way to get through it is by reaching out and asking for help.
Talk to someone, reach out to someone, talk to us, talk to me, talk to your counselor, talk to your mother, and if you can't talk to your mother, talk to your auntie, your grandmother, talk to someone. That's a beginning step, and put it off for a day. We'll take it a day at a time.
When someone walks through our doors for prevention services, we treat them like we would treat a close family friend. We treat them in a way that we want to be treated. Someone to really listen to us, for someone to really help us through some really difficult times.
Survivors like myself who's lost a loved one, who's bearing pain like myself, they will bear that pain. There's no time to bear the pain. Every individual has their way of dealing with it. But my message to go out to the other survivors is to just let them know that they're not the only ones.
Through our Focus on Life program, We train trainers to do community outreach. We train volunteers to man crisis hotline phone calls. We do a lot of community-based trainings, helping people to know the signs and symptoms, helping them to know where to go and get help, and just really working with community people to know that they have the power, they have the ability to be a helper.
It's important to have more caregivers out there because caregivers are trained to be ready, to be willing and able to assist persons at risk for suicide. So we're trained to really listen and acknowledge why these people want to kill themselves as opposed to trying to make them feel that what they're thinking is not right.
Well, being a caregiver, a lot of times, as we go through interventions, you always wonder if you've said the right thing. At the end of the day, knowing that you've met all the steps, you've met all the requirements, you've done everything you can, and gave all you can to that individual to help link them, then you always feel positive.
With the training that I received, I feel comfortable talking about suicide, and I'm ready and prepared to recognize and help those at risk.
You're lending yourself as almost like a rock for support.
It does not have to come from a department or government agency or a private clinic. Every person can learn to prevent suicide in their lives.
Every single one of us are connected to people, and we can do something. We can be a listener. We can be a net, close the gaps. And we can't all reach. I can't reach your friends. I can't reach my son's rugby team, but he can, and he can avail himself as a listener.
Everyone around you, you got to be able to, be open and talking. And we just have to listen to them and then try and figure out a solution, They just need ears. They just need someone to be attentive to them.
Don't be afraid to talk to the people you call your best friends, because if they really are your best friends and they care about you, then they won't turn you away.
And so if every one of us, looked up once in a while, made eye contact with the person across us, try to notice what is going on, ask questions, how are you? Spend time with others.
There are many of us that are carrying this pain. But there is a light at the end of that tunnel. There is hope. There is hope for us to change our lives and to become either advocates or to make lives better for their family and to become better people.
Take it a day at a time. If you're a survivor, there's a way to heal. You're gonna heal. You're gonna get through this. You're going to survive it, and you're gonna be whole, and you're not gonna forget.
You look around the island. Where can you find such beautiful surroundings, beautiful ocean, such loving people, such generous people? That's something worth living for.
And if you want to get involved, there are so many organizations, the Peace Council, Focus on Life, Safe Talk, Assist, get involved in those training, get involved in your community, your youth groups, your school, get involved in sports, get involved with the mayor, talk to the mayor, talk to your principal, be a part of an organization that reaches out to young people, get involved in your church. There's so many groups out there.
No matter what the circumstances are that's going on in their life, no matter how painful it is, no matter how lonely they feel, if every single person on this island says, I choose to live, there won't be any more suicides.
And the one that you lost, the one who let go, you're going to celebrate that one's life by surviving and living and then reaching out and touching another one. We are amazing people because we grow up in Typhoon Alley. And if we are able to survive storms, we can survive storms within. We were crafted for that.